All right, and then on to where Joel, can you hear me, my friend? Let's see if he.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, my friend, you are good to share your screen while I grab my thing to do my little spiel.
Right on.
While Coach is sharing his screen, friendly reminder: like the video so people can find it easier as they go back through. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to all of our fantastic speakers that we've had in session 1 or session 2, and then Joel is the. Oh God, you're going. I'm more. I probably should have asked you how to pronounce your school before I started this.
and Sobrato High. I'm known as Sobrato High School.
Sobrato High School. Like I should have. Like I know better. Like you know that, and I know better. So, Coach is coming back on the channel. He's been on before podcasts and stuff. He's going to kind of talk wing tee, blocking, game planning for buck sweep and crisscross counter. Coach, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you. It's good to be back on. Last time I was on, I was actually at a different school. So since then, I've taken over as a head coach here in my hometown at Sobrato High School. Emails up on the screen there. Got my Twitter handle there on the screen if you want to take a moment to write that down. Otherwise, yeah, we'll be talking about game planning for how we block, buck, sweep, and we'll get into some crisscross counter. All right, so real quick, who we are, we're public school in Morgan Hill, California, with a population of 1,500. For some, that might seem like a lot, but their schools are about 3,000 in the area. Built in 2004, never had a Division I scholarship player come through our doors. So, I mean, that might be part of the reason why we run the system that we do, to be able to compete with some of those schools that have some of those stellar athletes. Me as a coach, raised in Morgan Hill, went to Sobrato class of 2010, played junior college ball, went out to Waldorf University in Iowa, played my 4-year ball there. Really grew as a student of the game there under some pretty good coaches that had stints overseas in the GFL. And then as far as high school coaching, coached at Gilroy High School, Monte Vista Christian High School, and then I'm back at Sobrato High School. All right, getting into buck sweep, okay, and how we prepare or kind of attack a game week with it. First thing we want to do when we install or kind of lay down the foundation is our alignment. Okay, mostly up front, it's going to be our depth. Okay, so we want to make sure we're about 2 to 2.5 feet split between each of our players. And then this is kind of the key here is we want to make sure when our kids get down in their stances that their helmet ends up on the center's hip. I think this could go overlooked a lot of the time, but what this does is utilizing this depth really helps with our angles of our releases, our angles of departure to our blocks. And some people say you guys are lining up way too far in the backfield. Well, refs will typically give us 1, maybe even 2 warnings before they throw a flag for anything like that. So they'll usually approach me and say, "Hey, you guys need to scoot up a little bit," or whatnot. So again, we want to test the limits there. We want to be as far back as possible just so we can use those angles to our advantage. Okay, so here that green space is going to be the space between our O lineman besides the center and the defensive lineman. Okay, and I'll go ahead and the next slide here is going to go ahead and give you a good visual representation. We're in gun here, but still, okay, that's a lot of space between our linemen. Go ahead and give them those solid angles. Okay, whereas if their helmets were on the shoulder, okay, we essentially lose a good amount of those angles with our angles of departure. All right, into the scheme. Okay, don't want to take too much time here. I'm sure plenty of us know the X's and O's on buck sweep. But really quickly here, wing back, tight end, and play side tackle. Okay, that good old gap down backer tagline there. Okay, so that's our rule, gap down backer. One thing I'll get into is this play side tackle here. Okay, he's working all the way down to the center. Okay, so if there's someone in this A gap or he's shaded the center, our center wants to reach reach to the play side. He'll have help with the down blocking tackle. The center can take care of it by itself. The tackle will go ahead and climb. Center, play side A, or if we're in gun, we tell him play or away, meaning play side, working back to the away side. Backside tackle, okay, he has a home run block, or if we're in gun, we'll have a hinge block. Under center or fullback, we'll be responsible for the backside A. And then arguably the most important parts of running buck sweep here are going to be our guards. Okay, our play side guard, we really want to make it a point, okay, even though we are lined up with depth, like I referred to earlier, okay, is we want to be able to get through any penetrating defense alignment, any crashing or stunted defense alignment, or in any words, any junk. Okay, so what we tell our play side guard as a coaching cue is get around the junk. Okay, and to get around the junk, what he does is he imagines he's staying on the clock, and I say, hey, your first step, open up to 5 o'clock. So opens up his hips, okay, opens up his angle of departure to be able to go ahead and get around the junk. Okay, and then he's pulling right, so we'll make sure he hits it with his right shoulder. So PRHR, pull right, hit right. Okay, backside guard, flat and fast. Okay, once he gets to about the A gap, he wants to go ahead and pull with depth. Okay, we call that a question mark pull because his path, okay, looks like a question mark. Okay, the reason he's doing that rounded part of the question mark again is to get around the junk. Okay, by the time he gets there, there could be a pile there. There could be someone clogging up the B or the C gap. Okay, we want to get around the junk. Okay, his job is to pull, lead up in the alley, and keep leverage. So if a scraping linebacker, as he's turning up in the holes inside of him, okay, we want him to seal or keep him inside, and our back will read his butt to make his cut. Or if that flowing backer is going fast to the running lane, he can go ahead and essentially turn it into a kick out block, and our back will cut it up inside. Okay, so essentially we want to hit it right here in this blue alley. Okay, and then our backside tackle, okay, that home run block. What that does, we tell him if you're able to hustle over here and block that safety out, what you're doing is you're making a natural cutback lane for our running back. Okay, so you can make that natural cutback lane for our running back. That's potential for a home run play. Game behind the last line of defense. All right. In terms of buck sweep, what do we prepare for on a weekly basis, or what are we kind of looking at? Okay, starting up front with the defensive linemen's alignments. Okay, see if they stunt or if they'll stem. Okay, one thing I think goes overlooked is if they are penetrators or if they're readers. I'll get into that in a minute. And then from there, we look at the linebacker's assignment, specifically that overhang player, their force player. And then we want to see if they dial up any pressures. All right, so defensive line, looking at them, okay. So week to week, it's kind of like a flavor of the week type of deal. We'll see various fronts, okay, 30, 40, or 60, an eagle front or 50 front. Now, bottom line is we tell our guys, your rules are your rules. Don't deviate from your rules and stay on your track. Okay, so I'm telling my play side tackle, hey, your rules are your rules. Your down block is your down block. Stay on that down block track. If there's no one to block, move up to the next level. The linebacker will show eventually. Okay, stay on your track. If you ever see a train, trains don't take left or right turns. They stay on their track and they go forward. My tackles, tight ends, my wingbacks, you're a train. Stay on your track. D-line stunts, okay. Essentially, what I've boiled it down to two things. Are they penetrating or they're reading? Okay, penetrating meaning if they're lined up in the gap, they They're trying to get in that gap extremely quickly, extremely aggressive. Okay, if they are, we have a different approach as to if they're reading. So if they're reading what the offensive line is doing, they're reading pullers, they're reading reach blocks, etc. Okay, so penetrators, what we do, we want a far shoulder down block, keep our eyes up, okay, and then we want to utilize that alignment, that depth alignment. We don't want to go to where the target is. We want to go to where he's going to be. Okay, and against a penetrator, we want to utilize horizontal displacement. Okay, so we really want to wash him down toward the center. Okay, we encounter defensive linemen that are readers. Okay, so they're reading pullers. They want to cross space. They're reading reach blocks. They're trying to fight those reach blocks. Okay, we turn this into a near shoulder down block. Okay, this allows us to have our near shoulder tied up into the defender. Our near foot is up. Okay, kind of developing kind of like a post position. Okay, and we're able to create vertical displacement. Okay, versus a reading or a cross-facing defender. Okay, it's really difficult for them to fight pressure with pressure while they're trying to cross-face, especially if you're creating that vertical displacement opposed to that horizontal displacement. Okay, reading defensive linemen, they want your momentum going the opposite way they're trying to go. They want to be able to wrong arm you or swim move or rip across your base. Okay, so again, near shoulder, down block on a reader and create vertical displacement opposed to horizontal displacement. All right, next up, one thing that you can key off of film, pretty, and it does tend to stand out, is linebacker alignment, specifically how they line up to your wing, back, or your tight end, or any special techniques they do. So some questions to ask while watching film. Do they align on the line of scrimmage or are they off the line of scrimmage? Okay, are they splitting the wing and tight end? Or are they outside the wing? Are they following the wing back or tight end? Or what? And then also, what technique are they playing? So here, this is not my team. We actually played against this team in the white. So this is the team I was looking at. A couple plays in, I noticed this guy right here with the black socks and the black sleeves. He was one of their dudes that essentially they had him trailing the tight end and wing, specifically the wing back. Okay, so here he's with the wing. Here again, he's with the wing. Okay, with the wing again up top. Down on bottom with the wing. Okay, and that's just pre-snap alignment. Okay, what really sealed the deal and what really showed us that that's what they were doing was when we pulled up the film here and we watched, instead of just watching where a huddle starts the snap of the ball, I took it back and watched them break the huddle, watch all their pre-snap stuff. So we had, this team traded, and they obviously wanted that guy on the wing, the other guy in space. Okay, again, down at the bottom, team traded. There goes black socks, black sleeve. Okay, that he was one of their dudes. They wanted them at the point of attack, at the most likely point of attack. Okay, again, this is a different team. Okay, it just so happened we had film of two teams we played against this team in black that ran a similar system as us. Essentially the same type of deal. Okay, I believe the team in white, 21 was their guy following the wing. Okay, so they traded, and these guys traded. Okay, one thing about this group here is they didn't just trade one guy. Okay, the team in black traded two, and they had about 5 or 6 moving pieces here. So that's one thing that intrigued me, and I'll go and do it a little bit more when we get the second clip here. Pause that. Back here. So if you look again back in the top left, not only is 21 changing, but their defensive backfield's changing, their linebackers are changing. 21's flopping sides. Okay, so that was something I was able to key on that week. And then we got another trade here, same type of deal. Okay, a lot of moving parts. And then this is kind of like let me go back here. This is kind of like an ad lib here. But there's something to look at as you prepare is when they traded here, this trade and this defensive adjustment, was it the same? And it wasn't. Probably because of where they ended up in the traditional tight end wing with 2 split receiver side compared to this. But that's how you can start getting the X's and O's down to see how they adjust to what you do. Okay. Initially, I was just focused on number 21 and seeing if he was a guy following the wing. Turns out he was. And the reason why he was is as we get into this, how are they playing us? Okay, so number 21 for this white team, his sole job was to disrupt Buck Sweep. Okay, so if you see him here at the top left, he's at the bottom. His sole responsibility was to crash hard between the tight end and wing and try to just disrupt our pullers or disrupt our down blocks. Okay, so he just tried to go and create junk, create a bunch of mess. Okay, regardless if it's a run or pass. So you tell this guy's at an RPO here, but still at the point of attack. He's not reading much. He's just flying in. Okay, then again, same guy, same technique. There's a trade. It's flying in. Okay, just trying to be a disruptor. So that's how, and it remained consistent with this team in white. We played these guys week 9, and they lined up the same athlete trying to play the same technique to our tight end wing. So that allowed us to kind of prepare and do a handful of different things. Like we would trade to get numbers, or we do a fake trade. So to center our tight end and wing would reset, but when they got to the center, they'd sprint back to the original spot. And seeing how this team was kind of adjusting with 5 or 6 guys, it kind of caught them off guard for a split second. One, I think they had to call a timeout once. But yeah, that's looking at stuff like that helps us prepare for how to run buck sweep.
5 minutes,
also,
Coach.
Yeah. That question?
5 minutes.
Right on. Good timing. Now we'll get into crisscross counter. Okay, so one of the counters of buck sweep or power under center. Okay, so quickly, what this looks like is everyone from the play side tackle to the backside guard, they're down blocking and they're washing everyone down. Okay, so we want to create solid horizontal displacement. Okay, backside tackle. He's pulling downhill, pulling left, hitting with his left shoulder for a true kickout block. Or tight end or a wide pulling leading. Okay, we want to stay tight. We tell him to stay as close to his teammates as possible. And once he sees green, he's checking his mirrors. So again, as a teacher, a lot of these guys are learning how to drive or just starting to drive. So I tell them, check your mirrors, meaning keep your head on the swivel, look for the first threat. Once you see him, you got him. Fullback is aiming for the outside foot of the tight end, and he's kicking out or keeping any defender that might leak through away. Okay, our halfback receiving the handoff. We don't have him receive the handoff like a traditional handoff. What we have him do is get the ball with his pinkies together and his fingers down. Okay, that way when the ball touches his hands, he can secure it with his fingertips and then immediately start to push it out for the second handoff. And we don't put a whole lot of pressure on it in terms of being a second exchange. We teach it as just a normal play. This is how we do it. Don't overthink anything. I feel like if the coaches put extra emphasis on, we got to secure the ball in this double handoff, then that player can just start thinking about it, and it just creates unnecessary stress or worrying. So we treat it like a normal play, tell them how to receive the ball, tell them how to get the ball once, and just let the kids play. Okay, the wingback, he's going to open up toward the middle of the formation, let the fullback clear. Then it's an inside handoff. He receives the ball like a traditional handoff, and we tell him to follow that tight end and run to grass. Okay, and then for our quarterback, he's on midline, and it's just a traditional buck sweep mesh. When we decide to counter, okay, just like the play, calling the play, you have to consider the timing. Okay, is it set up? Have you ran to the wing back a good amount of times? Is that your running to the wing back? Is that your bread and butter? Do you run your powers? Do you run your buck sweeps? Are the linebackers reading linemen? Okay, you can tell right away if you run buck sweep, if you run your powers or any plays with any false pulls. That'll help verify those linebackers are reading linemen or being disciplined to their reads. Okay, and then anything situational. So down and distance. Okay, if you're a primarily buck sweep team and every time it's second and 5 or first and 10, you run buck sweep, break the tendency. Throw a crisscross counter in there. If it's second and 1 and they expect any power run, throw a crisscross counter in there. Anything that'll break a tendency. Okay, you want to run it into the field or into the boundary. Okay, again, that's a team or self-scout type of deal. Okay, what the other team's response to motion is, that's when we're in gun. We'll run our crisscross off of a jet sweep, and then utilize any unbalanced formations. Okay, unbalanced formations kind of dictating or giving the insinuation that you're running to that unbalanced formation every time. Okay, so the last 2 slides here are just diagrams of how we would utilize those things. So here's in our gun, we go unbalanced tight end and our split end on the same side. Okay, wing back also to the field. Then we have our motioning receiver to the boundary. So we want to show we have 4 of our 5 eligibles to the field. We're motioning our 5th eligible to the field to kind of give a good solid unbalanced jet sweep look. Okay, and then we counter back the crisscross counter into the boundary. Okay, so pre-snap, if I was to eliminate all the lines, okay, if you go through your checkbox, a good amount of that would say, hey, they're probably going to the field in some way. Okay, just to counter back. Then under center, same type of deal. Okay, same hash, unbalanced to the field. Okay, we have a good unbalanced power look running to the field just to go crisscross counter back into the boundary. Okay, and then to tie this in to what I mentioned with the buck sweep, our home run block would be this condensed receiver here. Okay, so that if he can block that safety or that whoever that last line of defense is, that'll create that natural cutback lane for the ball carrier. Okay, and then whether one thing I'll highlight, whether it's under center or in gun, we coach the handoffs the same. So pinkies down, receive the ball there, and then push it back for the second handoff. And that's about what I have for weekly prep for blocking buck sweep and crisscross counter. If you have any further questions or want to talk anymore, my email is right there on the screen, along with my Twitter or X handle.
Okay, before you kind of go, Coach, just one quick question.
Sir.
Like, I mean, from a install order, like, is buck sweep a day one for you? Buck sweep day one, and then when do you from there add crisscross?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But buck sweep for us is our bread and butter. We call it Jack. So we install our Jack series first. What's involved with that is buck sweep, trap, waggle. And then we'll go from there, we'll go power and then crisscross counter. So crisscross counter is probably third in terms of series install.
Okay. Well, coaches, don't hesitate to reach out to Coach. Coach has obviously been on. You can find some other stuff on the channel with him. But yeah, shoot him an email or follow him on Twitter and shoot him a DM there. Coach will talk ball with you and get back to you pretty quickly. Otherwise, Coach, I appreciate you coming on and helping out as normal. And If you need anything, as always, let me know, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Coach. Much appreciated.
No problem, Coach.